Hello YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. I think this is almost my 20th video. It might be right in that ballpark. Anyway, it's October 2nd at about 10:10 p.m. Um, so I thought for this video I'd talk a little bit about what I personally value in music, which is my college major, which is my main direction in life, career, with teaching and composing, and to a lesser extent, I think, performing. Um, so far. But so um, so what do I value? Why I personally value music? Everybody's a little different, and I have kind of a framework. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I often have kind of a framework set up a little bit to help me kind of stay on track a little bit with some of these videos. But this is a topic that I could really go on thousands of tangents. It's very enjoyable for me, but everybody's a little different, and no one perspective is the best. But I think some folks have either more knowledge or more aesthetic things. Some folks have some very highly developed aesthetic sensibilities and that sort of thing. So anyway, this is where I'm coming from, and I think a lot of folks would find this interesting, especially in the future. So what do I value in music? Well, the first one obviously is memorable melodies, good, well-crafted melodies. I'm not necessarily always, I don't like the word crafted, but melodies that often do just kind of seem to flow, or sometimes they just seem to come, or they kind of create themselves. But memorable melodies, ones that you can remember after you hear it. I value that a great deal in music, and just sort of melodic ideas. That's a huge part of what I value in music. Of course, beautiful harmonic progressions, a chord or harmonic language. Sometimes for some pieces that has various emotional qualities to it. Or, sometimes there are harmonic progressions I haven't heard as much before that are nice and like good change of pace. Other harmonic progressions are more familiar, but go with a certain melody particularly well. Other kinds of harmonic languages and progressions are just all kinds, but basically harmony is like a flavor. It's like a fruit flavor for me. Like a taste, and colors. So I tend to value the ones the most that are just the most enjoyable. So kind of like Debussy in that regard. So like with melody, I'm like many people, I think, where I just remember really good melodies. But I do think I'm a bit like Debussy, where I really do enjoy those very yummy harmonies, that sort of thing. So absolutely, and just a wide variety of harmonies. Very curious about harmony. I have been, I think, for my whole life, and it's just become more and more so the older I've gotten. But something else I value, of course, very much in music. So emotions that are present in music that can trigger memories and thoughts of certain people and places and events, and and that's the case I think for a lot of people. But there's some music that really just you can't help but think of a particular person, and I know that this is not just a more sophisticated idea. It's just in classical music or whatever, but it's very common, and I don't mean to downplay it because it's more common. What I mean is, this is one of the things I think that is very important about being human. One of the qualities that makes us human, where when we hear certain kinds of music, it reminds us of certain kinds of people we've known, or certain places, certain events, certain whatever. We can't control it. It just comes. It just comes. And yeah, that's one of I guess some would say that's some people might say that's one of the beautiful things about music, and the way that we humans respond to music is we just when sometimes these emotions and memories just come, we don't control those things. You might wonder, well, why is that? Where do they come from? And some might say, just like with similar to some, say in a way, analyzing music, sometimes just better that you just don't know. They keep it a mystery. It's more enjoyable that way. It's easier to understand music theory and be both simultaneously analytical and aware of all the different connections between emotions and that sort of thing and harmony. It's easier to do that than to know why certain music connects with your certain memories. That's a lot more something I'll just leave for another time, maybe in the next life, to fully understand it. But it's an awesome thing, and I value it very highly. Of course, some music there's music that's very free, has a freeness to it, like Prelude to an Afternoon of a Faun by Debussy is a classic example of that very free rubato kind of music. I think rubato tempos are great in that regard, and I value that very highly. It lets music kind of breathe. It gives it a little bit more of a personality. And it all depends on the music. Some music isn't that way at all. It just all depends on the nature of the music. But if music is more legato and it has a lot of rubato qualities to it, then yeah, I mean, like the ebb and flow, the peaks and values of music, tension and release, all that kind of stuff. This is all stuff that I very much like. Associated with romantic and impressionist eras, especially in classical music and neo-romantic, all that stuff, film music, that sort of thing. So, sense of imagination, aesthetics, that sort of thing. The more I hear composers really diving into that stuff, the more I'm like, yeah, this is good stuff. You know? And I value that very highly, very highly. In a sense of mystery, music that triggers thoughts that I haven't contemplated for quite a while. That's associated with the earlier idea, but questions, unresolved questions, and memories. But you might have a question at one point in time, and it's associated with certain kinds of emotions. And when you maybe hear a piece of music, you might recall a question you had that wasn't fully answered at some point. All these things can happen. Again, we don't always know why they happen. We just know that's one of the reasons. It's one of the things that makes us human, is to have those kinds of experiences. And I think it's really cool, really great when those things happen. And I want them to, they should keep happening. They need to keep happening in one's adult years, not just when you're younger, in your teens especially, not just that. So associated with this subject, these are some of the things I value. I can mention composers like Vaughan-Williams, Elgar, and Rachmaninoff, and Ravel, and Debussy, Vaughan-Williams, Tchaikovsky, Howard Hansen, John Rutter, Morton Larson. You can mention all these big names that I personally love, Handel and Bach, and many others. And there are many, there's Fauré and things. But there's, I don't always value sophistication or music that tries to sound sophisticated. If it tries to sound sophisticated, it's trying to sound sophisticated. Who wants to hear that? So, no. I don't value music that's hard to understand on purpose. If a composer writes something that he's trying to be difficult, okay, he's trying to be difficult. That's evident. It might be very admirably complex or advanced. That might have a certain kind of quality about it where I say, oh, okay. But no, I'm not going to really value it a whole heck of a lot if it's purposefully hard to understand emotionally or in, I don't know, whatever. So, no, it's just not going to stick with me very much. No matter how admirable it was, how much effort. It's admirable how much effort goes into some pieces, definitely. But Vincent Persichetti, he's wrote a lot for wind ensemble, wind band. Persichetti had something. He was really onto something when he said, this is regarding music during his time, that he felt that some music tried to say too much. Of course, other music too little. But a lot of music was trying to say too much. What does that mean? Music trying to say too much? Well, it means you need to have music that's well structured. or at least the composer knows what he's trying to say, even if he's being difficult to understand. If he's being very obtuse in some way, he's at least knowing where he's going with a piece. He's not trying to hit on every single aesthetic or every single idea out there in one piece. That's crazy. It's a scattershot composition. It's like, well, hey, let's mix up. Let's have 4 bars in a classical style like Mozart. The next 4 bars like Bartok, and the next 4 bars like Praetorius or something. Oh, that's just crazy. I mean, it's music, but it's crazy. It's all over the map. So, I think it's important to have music that is well structured and it knows where it's going, and it goes there, or it doesn't. It goes somewhere else, but it doesn't veer off into a billion different directions, in every conceivable direction. That's important. Of course, I have my personal favorites. I mentioned some of those really quick in this video. But the very best pieces of music, in my opinion, they're those pieces with an open invitation to the imagination, the heart, and the mind of the listener. An open invitation. And it's continually inviting the listener to feel, think, contemplate things. And it's music that invites. It doesn't force you in there. I mean, some music actually forces you to feel a certain way. And this is where Frederick Delius comes in. Sir Frederick Delius, a British composer, didn't like music that forced him to feel a specific way. So that's why his music sometimes has the qualities it does, where it's not always very clear-cut, happy or sad, to be very plain, to use plainer kinds of emotions. But so that music that invites you to feel something, maybe not one specific emotion, but maybe something that on some level really connects with you, or it causes you to remember it. So in fact, the last thing I'll mention on this end, a lot of my students, my own music students, the private music students, the students that study with me privately, what many of them seem to be listening for and enjoying music is music that is not very plain, and it's not also too distanced from anything of an emotional nature. Not too distanced. So of course somewhere in the middle, and this is something I've already known about regarding a lot of people that are very musically minded. That we want music that's it gets us to kind of feel and think about various things that we don't always get to. We don't always think about those things, or we don't always feel certain things on a daily basis, and so we want music to kind of touch on some of these things. But we don't want music that's too removed from our experience of being human, because we're not Vulcans, and we're not babies. But even little kids can sense when certain ideas have more to them than just a simple happy face or sad face. So we value music that has a lot of different sides to it. Some kids might consider that to be, some teens might call that music mysterious, or like an onion, there's different layers. But this kind of music is of great value. And this is why composers like Debussy are going to stick around for forever, because his music is like that. Same thing with Elgar, same thing with Vaughan-Williams. Now, of course, some music that has very, very strong melodies. Beethoven's not going to go anywhere either because of the strength of his melodies. But the emotion is much more straightforward. If he's angry, you're going to hear it. If he's very peaceful, just in a very peaceful mood, you can hear it. Nice. But we like that. We like that kind of where can I go? Where's this piece going? I don't know. We love that kind of stuff, and it's I think it's if we those folks that love popular music. I'm calling out really the really plain pop music. It's disgustingly simple, and this is the reason why so many composers think so little of that whole arena, because it's not refined, and there's nothing to it. But of course, I understand when people really have a lot of admiration for pop stars, sure, but it's two different things. It's apples and oranges. So, but this is much of the reason why you have that attitude in classical music. It isn't always that pop music is less sophisticated. Most of the time it is, but much of the time it is. But it's actually also that it just aesthetically and in terms of imagination, it leaves very little to the imagination for a lot of music that's popular. Now, some music that's popular is actually of a higher quality in various aspects. But all right, I thought probably call it good here. You guys take care. I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.